Hello, everybody on YouTube, NFL YouTube prognosticators, and NFL fans everywhere. This is Andrew Warren. I'm back once again to pick up where I left off from my top 10 divisional games of all time. Once again, check out on Mason Talks. He's a really good prognosticator. I talked about in my last video before I left. So, once again, just still check him out again. He's a really good prognosticator. He makes great picks. So tell him my son Jay, he's a really good prognosticator, and you wouldn't be disappointed in him. So, anyways, picking up where I left off are the top 10 divisional games of all time. Nope. If you haven't seen it yet, here's a little recap for it. Number 10, the missed opportunity with the Pittsburgh Steelers and versus Indianapolis Colts in 2005. Number 9, the catch 3, the 49ers and the Saints. Number 8, the Fog Bowl, the Bears versus the Eagles. Number 7, the Hail Mary game, the Vikings and the Cowboys. And number 6, the Sea of Hands, the Dolphins versus the Raiders. And number 5, here we go, number 5, another Oakland Raider game. They have a bunch of Oakland Raider games in the top 6, so I'll let you guys know on that. And now, number 5, the Ghost to the Post, the Colts versus the Raiders. Well, this is a game that the Colts were kind of sort of favored in that game in 77. They were probably one of the good games, a little success in the 70s at the time. Not really great success, but at that point the Colts were in that opportunity in that game, and the Colts were up by, I think it was a field goal or something like that, or I forget what the scoreboard was, but I don't know. I wasn't born, like I said in my last video, I wasn't born in the 70s and the 80s. I was born in the late 80s, so I'm a 90s kid, so. But anyways, at that point, though, the Raiders were down, and this was mostly known as Dave Casper, former Notre Dame quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end for them, and ended up going to the game-winning drive, because he was known as his last name was Casper, and Casper the Friendly Ghost, and he would go on and nobody saw him for that game-winning drive touchdown. So at that point, though, the Raiders would go on in 77. They would probably lose to the Steelers again in 77 after they won the Super Bowl the following year. So they end up winning, going to that drive on that point, and the Colts, and the Colts had a little slump to that point after that. So at that point, that was a big turning point for the Colts at that point. So that would conclude for my number 5 pick. And number 4, the Mile High Miracle game, the Broncos versus the Ravens. Oh, I remember this game really well. This was a back-and-forth game. I will never forget that game. I was watching that game. I really wanted to see who my New England Patriots were at the time, which I thought they were going to won that Super Bowl that year, but that didn't turn out to be the case. That ended up being the Ravens. But anyways, this is Ray Lewis' last hurrah, and goes to show you, it was a back-and-forth game. He announced his retirement, I think during the playoffs. They make one more playoff success. But at that point, though, that was mostly known for going to the I can't. Oh, geez, Joe Flacco. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Joe Flacco going, I think it was 70-yard pass to the Jacoby Jones and going for the 4th down play, and he going to game-winning touchdown. That would send it to overtime. Oh, God. That game was back and forth and overtime. It took 2 overtimes to get it. And all of a sudden, Peyton Manning choked as usual, and he got picked off. And, of course, that would send Baltimore to Foxborough, and they ended up killing the Patriots in that one. Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled on that one. But, hey, this was Ray Lewis' last hurrah. I mean, I had a little applause to him on that. This was Ray Lewis' biggest emotional game. I think it was more emotional to the Super Bowl 47 at that point. But maybe that's a Super Bowl preview. I don't know. But anyway, though, this game was boldly remembered to seal the Ravens into the Super Bowl. I think that was the kickstarter for having the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, though, in that point. So at that point, the Ravens, there was a little last hurrah for Ray Lewis because he was retiring, and this would be a little more success to him on that. Number 3, the Tuck Rule game. My New England Patriots versus the Oakland Raiders. I remember this game too well. I was actually 12 years old when I was watching that game. And I was watching it and remember the snow coming down, which We had more snow come maybe on the way, but that's another topic. But it was like a snow globe in that game. It would not stop falling. It snowed, continuing to fall off to the game. And Bob Kraft didn't want to put a snow tart in there because he thought it'd be ruin the field. Hey, come here. Sorry, that's my cat. Son, come here. Come here. Bella don't want to show up today, but that's whatever. But anyway, though, it was like a snow globe. It would not stop falling. But most of the game, though, the Raiders were winning that game. In case nobody remembers that, the Raiders were winning 10-3 at halftime. Then we would go on for a field goal and make it 13-3 for my New England Patriots. And we're down by 10 at that point. But in the fourth quarter, Brady was driving, and midway through the third, and all of a sudden he scrambles in for the end zone for the touchdown. That was set up 13-10, and my New England Patriots did get the ball back with a minute and 38 or 48 to go. That's when the tuck rule kicked in on that, because when Charles Woodson hit him Tom Brady right in the arm with that. But no, I thought it was a fumble, game over, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But all of a sudden, they were looking at the replay booth, and I'm like, what's going on? So I was kind of didn't know what was going on at that point. Then all of a sudden, Walt Coleman comes in, saying after reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It was an incomplete. It'd be 1st and 10 on the 22 or something like that. Yeah. And it goes, let's set it in a minute 52 or something, or something like that. So he changed the clock a little bit, and the Raiders couldn't believe it. And you could see John Gruden at the time running to the officials on that, screaming at the top of his lungs. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And Bill Belichick was like, yeah. And that was the beginning of the Patriot way at that point. That was the Kickstarter at that point. But mostly started when Belichick came in 2000. But that game would put him to the test with the tuck rule game. And at that point, we were the underdogs. We were the Cinderella team at that point, at that time. But anyway, though, that would set up Adam Vinatieri's 48-yard field goal in the snow to tie the game at 13 to send it to overtime. And the Raiders never recovered. We went to overtime, and we went to the set up a 23-yard field goal, and Adam Vinatieri would kick that and send my New England Patriots to the AFC Championship game with a date with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we upset the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we end up winning Super Bowl 36 at that point. So, and at that point, though, for the Raiders, they were gone back to the Super Bowl the following season for Super Bowl 37, which got manhandled by John Gruden and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at that point, 48-21, and the Oakland Raiders have not made it back to the playoffs since that point. So, and that was the story of the tuck rule, and we all know what the Patriots were going to be at that point. But hey, a guy from Massachusetts has always been a New England Patriots fan, so I'm still okay with that. But and number 2, the Epic in Miami. Now this was a game that San Diego was dominating for the first quarter, mostly in the first half, and Miami was stormed back and kicking 2 overtimes. But that game is mostly remember that Kellen Winslow was risking everything. Risking everything in that game. He put his body throughout the line with that big heat. It was a really hot and really bad game. Really hot and sweaty. It was like a summer game. I know it was down south in Miami, but and winter's mostly cold and snow at that point. But Miami, that was like a summer game at that point. It was mostly summer at that game. It was like a heat wave coming in at that point. Like a heat wave, mostly you see in the summer. So, which is not surprising in Miami, but, Miami, usually Florida and around the southern area is nice and hot and warm, but hey, at that point, though, that was a great game. It was a back and forth game in 81. So, but Dan Fouts and Kellen Winslow were going at it and throwing the ball at each other. But after the game, though, when San Diego kicked the game-winning field goal, Kellen Winslow was being carried off the field and was an amazing shot on that. One of the best shots in NFL films of all time. I'm not going to make arguments on that. I wasn't born in 81, but my God, that was an epic game. Keep watching that game over and over again. I still say to myself, I wish I was born at that point. I could watch that game. That game was unbelievable. I believe it took 2 overtimes, or maybe 1 or something like that. But Kellen Winslow, he risked everything in that game, and I mean everything. His whole body. I mean, he was out like a light. But at that point, though, that San Diego would end up winning the game and have a date with Cincinnati, that became the Freezer Bowl at that point. It definitely changed the momentum of the weather at that point. But Miami would a year later they had the player strike at that point, and they would end up going to the Super Bowl against the Washington Redskins, and they would lose at that point. And a year later, of course, they would end up getting Dan Marino. But a little case scenario for both teams. And San Diego, I don't think San Diego recovered after that playoff game. I don't think. Up until not 1994 or something like that. But that will conclude my number 2. And before I get to my number 1 pick, I got a couple of honorable mentions. And of course, one other divisional playoff game, I refuse to put that up there, was the Jets and the Patriots in 2011, I think it was. Or 2010, when they upsetted my New England Patriots. And of course, my New England Patriots again against San Diego, who were 14-2, who came and beat San Diego in overtime, and they had that big fight with LT. And of course, I think there was another one I was thinking of. Okay, I don't think I was thinking any other game. So, but anyways, that would conclude all the honorable mentions. Only a couple of Patriots games are involved in that, but anyways, number 1, the Steelers and Raiders, the Immaculate Reception in 72. Well, you all know the story to this one. The Raiders were down 6-0. Ken Stabler were scrambling in thought that was going to be the game-winning drive, but Pittsburgh got another opportunity. And of course, I forget who it was that hit, who it was the 2 wide receivers, the defensive end of wide receivers hitting each other. But anyway, though, the ball bounced back and it was caught by Franco Harris, and he ran it in for the touchdown. So, and the Oakland Raiders still say to this day they got screwed over by the refs. So, well, that was the main story out of that one. So, and of course, hold on, I got my clock coming again, so wait a minute. Hold on. Nope, not yet. But anyways, I thought my clock was gonna go. But anyways, at that point, the Raiders, there it goes. Sorry about the clock again, guys. You know, I could have a musical clock or something. It ain't my clock, but you know. But anyways, that was the turning point for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Oakland Raiders in the 70s. They all knew what they were going to be like at that point. The Raiders would end up winning 1 Super Bowl at that era in the 70s. Pittsburgh were going to be dominant in the 70s to become a dynasty. And of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have a date with the 72 Dolphins. They would lose with that. They had a good reason. The Dolphins were unbeaten that year, and they were going for the perfect season. So that will conclude that. But at that point, that was the start of the 70s for both teams, and that was the start of the big rivalry in the 70s for the Raiders and the Steelers, and that would make the 70s complete with the Steelers and the Raiders at that point. But hey, that'll do it for my top 10 divisional round games. Once again, check out Mason Talks. He's a really good prognosticator. Tell him I send you. And stay tuned with the AFC and the stay tuned for the conference championship for the top 10 of all time and my top 10 Super Bowls of all time. And after that, I do all those, I'll give you my Super Bowl picks. And of course, I don't know if I'm going to be wearing a Broncos hat for that video or not for my Super Bowl pick. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Till then, good luck to all of your picks for tomorrow's games. And until then, I hope I won't be wearing a Broncos hat. We'll see what happens, Billy B. So, till then, I'll see you all see you guys all in the my top 10 conference championship picks.